special one. We're going to talk about the period we're in, the COVID-induced crisis period we're in, that most people refer to as the new normal. Okay, this period is a tough period for everyone, okay, especially businesses. I'm going to be referring to manufacturing businesses, right, because I'm more familiar with that zone. Prices of raw materials are skyrocketing, logistics costs are over the top, and we are faced with this very important question: should we even be in business right now? Should we continue operations as usual, or should we shut down temporarily until all this COVID-induced crisis blow away? Okay, so these questions come up all the time, and you can't just answer that question logically. I mean, if you were to answer the question logically, you would just assume that we shut down and but then as an accountant or as a financial analyst, you would need to prove why you need to shut down or you need to continue operations as usual. And this video is going to help you prove that. It's going to walk you through the steps, the information that you need, what you need to do or compute that would provide you with accurate answers as to whether to shut down or continue operations. Okay, so let's begin. Well, the first information you need, I like to use examples, scenarios, because they better explain the point we're trying to make, and it makes you, or it helps you to easily understand and comprehend what we're driving at. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you're an accountant of Z Limited Manufacturing Company, and you've been asked that question. Advise us as an accountant, should we shut down or should we continue operating? Okay, so the first thing you do is get the information you need to make this decision. So Z Limited actually sells 95,000, or let's say 100,000 units of X products, right? 100,000 units of X products. That's your sales volume. That's the first information you need. Then you need your production capacity. I mean, the 100,000 units you're selling. So I'm going to assume that this 100,000 units equals your production volume too. So I'm going to increase this because I really need you to see what is going on the screen. I think this is better. So I'm going to assume that your sales volume equals your production volume. Yeah. And then the next thing you need is we're talking about your production capacity. So at what capacity do you produce your 100,000 volume? So how you compute your capacity is you take the total volume you produce at 100% capacity utilization. When you're operating at 100% capacity, how many do you produce, and what is your current production volume now? Okay, so take for example, Z Limited produces 150,000 cartons at 100% capacity. It means the current production capacity would be 100,000 divided by 150,000, right, to get the current capacity you're operating in. So I'm going to assume that Z Manufacturing produces 100,000 at 80% capacity. Okay, yeah. And then another thing you would need is your variable costs. Now this is very important. You need to determine your variable costs. And for us to determine your variable cost per unit, you would have to determine your selling price per unit. So I'm going to assume that Z Limited sells its X product for its 8 naira per unit. Yeah, and variable cost is 75% of that, which is about 6 naira per unit. So you get to keep 25 naira as your contribution, 25% as your contribution margin, which is 2 naira. Contribution margin. Yeah. Okay, so we're heading somewhere. Another thing you need to get, another information you need to make this decision is your fixed cost. How much do you spend on fixed costs? For Z Limited, we would assume that it spends about let's assume 350,000 naira as fixed costs. Yeah. So this is all you need. This is all you need to make your decision. And then you're asked, should we shut down? The first thing that comes to your mind is, if we shut down, are there any relevant costs to shutting down? Are there any relevant costs to shutting down? If there is, then you also need to obtain that information. So I'm going to assume that, there's always a cost you would incur when you shut down. When you shut down your production plants, you're bound to have some wastes. Okay, you're bound to incur some costs. And then there are some costs that you would incur even if you shut down. Those costs, I like to refer to them as the minimum fixed costs. There are some people that you will pay. There are some salaries you will pay even when you're shut down. Like your MD, like CFO, like a production manager. Their salaries are non-negotiable. You would have to pay. Okay, so a certain level of your fixed cost is going to be minimally, it's going to be fixed. And there's a certain portion of your fixed cost that can be avoidable to some extent. Okay, so at shutdown, you're going to assume that your minimum fixed cost is, let's say, it's going to be way lower, 130,000 naira. This is the cost you're going to incur, whether you run or you shut down, minimum. And then your cost relating to shutdown, or your shutdown cost, let's call it additional shutdown cost. Additional shutdown cost is about let's assume 15,000 naira. Okay, so at this point you've gotten all the information you need. Alright, so you put your two questions side by side on a column. If we continue operation, what profits do we end up with? Are we going to end up making profits, or are we going to end up at making loss? And if we shut down, are we going to have savings, right, from shutting down? Are we going to make less profits? Are we going to make less losses? So you're going to have to compute the two scenarios and see which one favors you. So for your continued operation, you know that sales is going to go on. So you take your 100,000 units and multiply it by your selling price, and you have this. If you shut down, you're not making any sales, so it's zero. And then your variable cost would be your total sales volume times your variable cost per unit, 600,000. If you shut down, zero, right? And then you get your contribution margin, which is this minus this. 200,000, a shutdown 0. And then your fixed cost would be fully 350,000 if you continue operations, because there's nothing you can do about that. But if you shut down, it will be 0, and you'll be incurring a minimal fixed cost of 130,000 and an additional shutdown cost of 15,000 naira. Now you compute your profits. Your profit will take 20,000 minus 350,000 fixed cost, and you're going to end up making a loss of 150,000. Now if you shut down, are you going to have any savings in losses? You just sum up your fixed costs. Remember that it's a cost, so you're going to probably end up in a loss too. 115,000 naira. Oh sorry, that's wrong. Minus is supposed to come out here. 145,000 naira. So from this computation, I would probably advise management that we should shut down. If we shut down, we're cutting our losses from 150,000 to 145,000 naira if you're making a loss. Okay, so this should guide your decision. But then again, another question we should ask is, remember that your production capacity is at 80%. What volumes would you be doing or would you be selling to actually end up at making a loss of 145,000 naira? At what capacity or at what production capacity should you shut down? Okay, so this is a different scenario altogether. Remember, as easy as ABC, you just plug in your situations side by side and compare your profits side by side. Okay, you might go a bit further in trying to calculate the production capacity that you would need to attain to actually shut down. Okay, so when you get to that production capacity, it's a red alarm for you, and you know that you're beginning to exceed the normal loss of 145,000 naira, and then you need to shut down. We're not going to talk about that in this video, but as simple as it is, this is just what you need to do to guide your decision as to whether to continue your operation or shut down. Now, this is applicable to other businesses aside manufacturing. Just get your information right and then do your decision table or your decision analysis, and voila, you have the basis or the proof for shutting down or continuing operations. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned one or two things from this video. If you did, please subscribe. If you did, please subscribe. And if you're new, it's good to have you on board. Okay, I'm going to be bringing up more videos. Stay tuned. Thank you for listening. Bye.